choosing a topic, and writing your topic proposal. Anything that interests you can be a topic of interest for other people. What I'm saying is, find something that really interests you, that is important to you, maybe something that's touched you or touched your community, something that you've already experienced, but definitely find a topic that you can take a stance within the issue. Sometimes it's all about the question. When presenting an argument or point of persuasion, it's not always about making the reader change their mind. Most of the time, it's just about making the reader question her own set beliefs. It's not about winning the argument. It's about how you present the argument and allowing the reader to make his or her own assessments. So step one in the argument process, or in writing the argument, is the topic proposal. I do have to approve it. You'll notice on the handout, which everything is found on the class wiki, that there's a list of things you cannot write about, and I want you to make sure you pay attention to those, because if you write a proposal about one of those subjects, I will automatically reject that proposal. There are two other things you need to read before writing the proposal: to inform or to inspire, and what makes an argument. They are also on the class wiki, and they also each come with a little discussion by me as to the relevance. So, saying that you've done that, and you're now currently watching this video, what you'll do is you will do some brainstorming or free writing before you actually get into your proposal. And the topic proposal does give you steps to follow in order to write the formal proposal. What you want to do is get on paper what you already know about the topic. This way to let me know where you stand. Explain what you find interesting about the topic. You can include anecdotal or experiential evidence in your proposal. So narratives or personal experiences that somehow relate to why you want to get into this particular issue. Why is this topic something you want to pursue? What do you wonder about it? And what questions do you have about it? All this should be contained in your proposal. Here you will see what's called clustering, and it's a type of brainstorming, and you will have covered this in the beginning chapters of your text in the reading assigned in the first couple of weeks. Here I just did something basic. Smoking, which is one of your topics that you can't write about, would be a very broad topic. Issues that stem from it, might be how you're no longer allowed to smoke in public places in most states, and how that might infringe on smokers' rights. Something that I've always found interesting is how one of the largest numbers of smokers are actually teens, minors, who aren't even old enough to buy cigarettes. And so an argument that you might create within this issue is how the laws are not strict enough in regards to smoking and minors. So in doing so, you would want to actually think about the message and how you want to communicate it. It should be stated clearly, in a concise fashion, and it should be contestable, which means your thesis should spark a debate, and you should be able to have an extended conversation with the reader. And your paper should develop from that thesis and should support your stance. All research or statistics or pictures or graphs or evidence should support your claims, and also show the reader examples of how it's the way you state it, or why it's the way you state it, how it can be a solution, how it's an existing problem, those type of things. So sometimes a large part of your argument can be relayed quickly and easily with the right visuals. Now you noticed, I hope, that some of the pictures, many of the pictures I've given here, relate to smoking. And the images are carefully placed. They don't stand out from the text or the message I'm trying to convey. You might choose to use photos, graphs, or sketches. Sometimes the message is more powerful when shown as an image. It can be realistic or artificial. The message will still be communicated. Here I have two images, and often in this class I will use a question about Jackie and drunk driving. Drunk driving is also a topic you cannot write about. Here to the left is a picture of the accident, and then to the right is a poster because Jackie has agreed to be the spokesperson in Texas for MADD. Below on the poster in the lower left corner is a picture of Jackie at 17 prior to the accident. And then the larger picture on the poster is Jackie today after the accident. The tagline says, "Not everyone who gets hit by a drunk driver dies." And this is an important point to be made that, you know, it's not just about taking responsibility. It's not just about dying. It's about how your decision as a drunk driver could affect other people. And that's the argument that can be made by this poster. So one important thing is that you need to start with a good research question. Now, this question will eventually become your thesis once it has transformed and morphed into the stance that you're going to take depending on the avenue of argument within your issue. And you will state it like this in the beginning because it's going to give you focus for your research. So I am studying whatever it is because I want to find out how or why or whether something happens in order to understand something. And usually that last part is the place where you really start to form your position. Okay? It's not a black and white issue. There are many avenues to argue about many things. And so you're just going to try and see where you're situated within the conversation. The images below are some that students have used in the past. One girl argued about how gender identity is based on something as simple as the toys that people buy for their children. The PDA, of course, was how technology is creating an isolated society and yada yada. And then Barbie, you know, there's always been this crazy argument about how Barbie tries to represent the ideal body image for women, and she's not even anatomically correct, and her proportions are off, and so on and so forth. And so these images, if they were carefully placed, could help to enhance the argument. Graphs and statistics are used to reinforce your position, but they should not take preference to your own ideas. So going back to my argument about teens, here it's saying that, you know, teens get their whatever material they say from news agents. So someone is not adhering to the laws. Are these people being fined? You know, should we even have these newsstands or small stores dedicated just to selling cigarettes and whatnot? So you might address that if that were your argument. Bar charts, again, are excellent because they give this, you know, it's like, ta-da, here's the information in really simple fashion. So the smoking status of 15-year-olds. And right away you can see that the females are more regular at smoking, occasional, I mean everything. And males, you know, they don't smoke. They haven't tried smoking. I mean, you know, or they have tried smoking, I'm sorry. They have tried smoking, but the ones who smoke on a regular basis are females, and that might lead you into a whole different avenue. So in the end, it's all about asking the right question. Why? You know, why does this happen? Why has it been allowed to continue to happen? What needs to be happening next? And I mean, it brings up so many other questions. And I will ask you all semester, you know, why is this happening? Why do you feel this way? You know, and then I might say, what can be done? I might say, so what? You know, so what? Your source says this. How does this work into your argument? How does it inform your argument? And it needs to support your argumentative stance. Your research never wants to take preference over your paper or your ideas, because then it becomes an informative paper and not an argumentative paper. You have to take a stance and continuously reinforce that stance. You have to continue to answer why.